What's up guys? Bonus video for this week, I guess. I had not planned to do this as my next video, but some people on the forums and stuff were asking about window regulators, and 2 days later, one of my window regulators decided it was gonna die. So, since I've got to do one anyway, I figure why not make a video. So this is gonna be our next one. Okay, so here's the problem. I came out the other day and yeah, that's not supposed to do that. So obviously this regulator is broken. So that's what we're going to take care of today. So quick tip on this. This tool right here, which is made to hold the window up, is an awesome investment. Basically those go around and just hold that. And with that up, now you can proceed to taking this door panel off. So this is pretty straightforward as far as taking this off. The only thing I ever really see people have problems with, I'll show you right here, is behind this handle right here. These two covers are covering the bolts that hold the handle to the door, and those do have to come out before you go yanking on the door. So I'll show you, if you get a pick in there, they just pretty much pull straight out. This door panel is of course in crap condition, so see the vinyl kind of pulling too. But okay, so I don't know if it's the same for all Grand Prix, but I know for this one, this is the bit you're going to need to take those bolts out. It's a T27 Torx bit. Okay, so I didn't film this part because YouTube doesn't like cussing, but the plastic piece here has to come off. The worst part of which being this tar that holds it to it, which you have to pull off the door without tearing the plastic because you need to put the plastic back. So the next thing, basically, you've got this little styrofoam sound dampener, which pretty much just pulls straight up and out, just like that. We put that in there for right now, and that gets you down. You can see another sound dampener back here, and then the window motor is right here, and then the regulator is behind here. This bolt, this bolt, this bolt, and this bolt are all part of that. So I'm going to loosen all those up, and I will be right back. So those bolts, as those are coming out, the window needs to be disconnected from the regulator. And to do that, we're gonna need to take this loose for a minute. Yeah, I know I'm living life on the edge doing this one-handed, but it's okay, it's still got a little tension on it. Because of the way this one's broken, I can pretty much just push this down to where I want it, which you'll see if you push it down to the right spot. You can get in behind here to this bolt, just barely with a swivel. And then on this side, there's a hole right here. And you can go through this hole where my finger is and get the other bolt out there. So let me do that and I will show you the next thing. Okay, so now, after you've taken both of those bolts out, cussed a couple times and asked Pontiac at least 50 times why they didn't line the hole up with the bolt you need to get out behind it. But all that aside, the next part is you just have to pull this back up like so, reattach your suction cups or whatever you're using. Tape works good too. And that's, now the regulator stays down and the window is now up and free. So then basically these three bolts you have to loosen. You don't have to take them all the way out. I do sometimes, but it doesn't matter. These three have to come all the way out, and this one has to be loose. Then the ones that you leave in, you can lift the entire regulator from inside the door up and push it back through the hole like that. But before you do that on this side, you got wiring right here. So make sure you unplug it, which you can do pretty easily from where it sits. Unplug this, that plug's out of the way. Pick the window motor up, push it back. Then comes the really fun part to do one-handed, where you take the entire regulator and it basically is going to pull out with the motor and get hung on about 50 different things, which is fun. And you're going to pull it all out this big hole. Okay, so here's the old part off the car and the new part off the car. Things you may notice. The new one has a pigtail versus the old one just has a plug. That's pretty normal. GM changed that over the years, and the aftermarket companies are only going to accommodate one. But they retrofit, so it's not a big deal. This is a Dorman part, so I've already taken the bolts that were on this, transferred it to this one. You can see exactly what happened on this one. If you flip this over, this is the cable that the motor moves to move the window. You'll notice it's wrapped around itself and broken on one end, and that is why the motor wasn't working, or why the window wasn't moving. We're gonna get this guy back in there. Okay, so I have tightened all of these bolts back for the motor and for the regulator. A couple quick tips on this. One, this is gonna be longer than normal. Just make sure that it's tucked down out of the way of the window itself. You don't want it to catch that. And then I may even zip tie it down there just to make sure it stays out of the way and under this motor. Secondly, probably gonna want to turn the key on, plug this back in, and move the window regulator, because they come most of the time down here, and it's behind this and very hard to get the bolts into. So I move it up here to the same place that I took the other one out, because it's just easier to do that way. And then other than that, once that's all bolted up, you're basically going to take that loose and push this window back down, and I'll try to show you what I'm trying to do. Okay, if you look right there, I am pushing this down until it sits on a little finger on the other side, which will line this hole up perfectly. And then you just have to put that bolt back in, as well as the one over here that's in a pretty tight space and kind of hard to get to. Okay, and then don't forget to put this guy back in here. I said that's sort of a piece of sound deadening material there. Okay, so basically once all that's done, it's just putting this plastic back, which is pretty simple. You line the tar up to where it was, make sure these holes are lined up, and make sure they're not going to get in the way when you put the panel back. Push the tar back in, it'll re-adhere to the door. Then you're just going to take your little filler panel here, put that back behind the handle. Then we just have to take this door panel and put it back the same way you took it off. It goes back in place, you snap it back in, and then replace those last two bolts. One thing to watch out for, these clips you need to make sure you keep up with, because they tend to break, they tend to pull out. If you pull the panel and they're still in the door, make sure you take them out of the door and put them back in the panel. Otherwise, the door panel will not stay on the door once you get it back in. Okay, so then once the panel is back on, there is nothing left to do but test it. Quick little bonus on this one, if any of you guys have been following my Instagram, looking at the pictures of the Z we've been working on, here it is. Engine is back in it. We are currently working on custom plug wires for it. and wiring, because we've got to redo all of the wiring for the fuel injector harness because it's falling apart. But it's coming along. I'll update you guys on that when I have more time too. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. This procedure is going to be pretty much the same for any of your W body cars, Impalas, Monte Carlos, Grand Prix, for any of those kind of cars. But just wanted to get that out there, let you guys see what that's like for anyone who needs to know. My regular upload will still be coming this week on Wednesday. And thank you once again for checking it out. Appreciate it.